Hey everybody, welcome back to our Kratom Addiction and Recovery Daily Devotional series. So we're in the book of Job right now and we're studying it and looking at how it applies to our lives and our addiction and recovery process. And today we're going to pick up in chapter 19 and we're going to be doing verses 7 through 14. Though I cry violence, I get no response. Though I call for help, there is no justice. He has blocked my way so I cannot pass. He has shrouded my paths in darkness. He has stripped me of my honor and removed the crown from my head. He tears me down on every side until I am gone. He uproots my hope like it is a tree. His anger burns against me. He counts me among his enemies. His troops advance in force. They build a siege ramp against me and encamps around my tent. He has alienated my family from me. My acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have gone away. My closest friends have forgotten me. So again, it's a heavy one, but we're going to shine some light on this and hopefully we're going to gain some insight about what this means in our lives and our recovery processes. So this is Job talking with his friends, and he's, crying out about the different aspects of the challenges that he's going through. And the points that we're going to focus on today is about how Job has been alienated from his family and that his acquaintances are completely estranged from him and that his relatives have gone away and his closest friends have forgotten me. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, my addiction really caused a lot of division between me and the people that I loved in my life. And there was a lot of damage, some of it lasting, that was caused by my addiction and caused by who I became during my addiction and how I was treating myself, how I was treating others. And so when Job says that he has alienated, that God has alienated his family from him and that his acquaintances are completely estranged, has that happened for you like it did for me? That was one of the most painful things about my addiction, and it is something that has taken a lot of time and a lot of work to rebuild and to reconcile and to heal, not only for me to heal, but for others to heal. And it's taken a lot of time and it's taken a lot of work. And in the 3 years that I was on kratom, it is incredible the amount of damage that was done. And so today we're taking a hard look at that and we're shining the light on that, about the damage that can be caused from this addiction and how it affects our relationships. I don't know about for you, but for me, I became a really terrible person on kratom, for lack of a better word. I became very irritable. I became very angry. I would lash out really badly in between my doses, and then I would have that little window where I would be, super happy and whatever the dose did that kind of relieved a little bit of pain because I wasn't happy at the end. But it was just this constant roller coaster for me and for everybody around me. And it magnified all of the conflicts in my life that, like, if I were sober, I could have navigated it in so much more of a healthy way. But because I was in my addiction and I just became so hyper paranoid and hyper fixated on everything that everybody else did wrong, that I really caused a lot of damage in my relationships. And what it's taken to rebuild those is, me being very humble and very honest and going to these people and taking accountability for the things that I've done and letting them know that I was wrong and apologizing to them. and then slowly building the trust again. Because that's the thing, is that, somebody can forgive you, but forgiveness does not mean restoration of the relationship or the rebuilding of trust. So it's taken a long time. And for some relationships, I often wonder if, there's been permanent damage that has been done, because I feel like for some of the relationships, they've never been the same. But I am hopeful that, that God is faithful and that God will restore what's meant to be restored. So I share my experience, and we look at Job's experience, because this is something that is, we can talk about health, we can talk about, different aspects of the damage that kratom does, but this is something that's often overlooked, I think, when we talk about kratom addiction, is that, the damage that it does to our relationships. And ultimately what happens is it isolates us from everybody and everything, really. And in the end, a lot of us in the deepest, darkest parts of our addiction end up completely alone. And so that's something that I want to look at today. And I want to shine the light on that together and look at it, without sugarcoating it, and coming to hopefully an acceptance at some point that the damage, that this addiction causes. And like the steps that we can do to rebuild these things and rebuild these relationships with people. And, the very first step is for us to be okay. And I didn't start rebuilding anything until I knew that I was ready and that I could have something to bring to the relationship, and that I could be the person that would need it, that these people needed in the relationship. And I also didn't want to start too early, because things are so volatile in the beginning of our recovery process, and sometimes well into it if you're dealing with pause. And you don't want to start to try to rebuild something until you're ready to do that, because if you're not in the right place and you start to waver again, and there is, the back and forth, or the, different things that are going on in the recovery that make us, either deal with tough moods or depression or, whatever it is, that may not be the right thing to bring into a relationship. So that's the first step, is getting ourselves right first. And that includes getting right with God, because God is ultimately going to be the one to reconcile and rebuild those relationships. And God is ultimately going to be the one who renews us and recreates us, like we were talking about in yesterday's devotional. So then it goes forward to taking accountability, like I said, and reaching out to these people. For some of these people, I hadn't spoken to them in 2 years. And I had to take accountability and go to these people humbly and let them know that, because some people, we can't tell that we had a kratom addiction. A lot of people don't even know what it is. But I let the people that I couldn't tell that I was having this addiction know that I was going through something that was very difficult, and that I know that I acted in some ways that were not okay. And I know I said some things that were not okay. And I take accountability for that, and I am sorry. And I apologize for it. And, when you do that, then it's kind of in the other person's hands. The ball's in their court. And for some people, like, I'll be straight up with you, for some people, there wasn't a response. I did, though, learn that there are some people that are not meant to be in our lives. I come from a background where I was raised in a home with an addict parent who was extremely abusive, and I couldn't tell the difference between love and pain, really. And so there were some relationships that were coming from many, many, many years prior, some family relationships, and one friend who was my best friend for 20 years that was really just an extension of this like unhealthy upbringing that I had. And I really was only in a relationship with her because this best friend, and then also with a couple of my other family members, because I didn't really know how to recognize love from pain and pain from love. And so in this process of being separated from everyone and everything during my addiction, some relationships fell away that were meant to fall away. And I still made the effort to take accountability for the things that I had done and let the people know that I loved them. And for the one friendship of 20 years that I did not need to continue, I let her know that I loved her, and I let her know that I took accountability for the things that I did, and that I wished her the best. And I just basically said goodbye to her, which was really hard. But I still made the effort to take the accountability for the things that I did. And then the family members that are unfortunately unhealthy, they're addicts themselves, when I reached out to them and let them know that I took accountability for the things that I had done wrong, and I wanted to see if it would be possible to move forward and have a relationship in a healthy way, I did not have good responses. And one of them I never heard back from, and then the other one, it just opened up the door to all this like unhealthy toxicity stuff. And so it's been a learning process navigating all of that. So I share this with you because sometimes it's not meant for some relationships to come with us into when we are renewed and we're in our sobriety. And that's something that can be really hard, but it's what's best for us. But it's still important for us to take accountability and to reach out to those people and do that side of it. So those are the steps that I used, and then moving forward from there, the relationships that I then did rebuild, it took time and the rebuilding of the trust with those people. And now as those relationships keep growing, it's so amazing and beautiful to have these people that were meant to be a part of my life, to have this new chance at like getting to know them again. And it's so awesome. And they are so happy to have me be a part of their life in my sobriety. And I'm so happy to have them be a part of my life. So those are the steps that I took when I was rebuilding in those relationships. So that's our point for today, is that we are isolated and we are often completely alone when we get into the worst parts of our addiction. But like sharing my experience about what it looks like to come out of that renewed and changed and to rebuild positive relationships in our sobriety. So I encourage you to let us know how you're doing in the comments section below, and I'll see you we're in day 5. This is the last video of the week, and I love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow for our phases of the kratom addiction recovery process, and I will see you then. Love you guys. Bye.